Good morning, lovely souls. Happy Friday. It's Tim Wild, coming to you with the weekly Ascension update, end of the week Ascension update. And I want to talk a little bit this morning about a reoccurring or very much increasing pattern that we are seeing around us as light workers, and it pertains towards souls who are in distress. Okay, now, due to the circumstances that we've experienced this year, due to the shift that's going on this planet, due to the fact that 2 billion people are going to be forced to wake this year that weren't awake in January 2020, we are seeing an incredible increase in people who are waving the red flags and shouting for assistance very, very loudly. Now, this was always going to be the case. Now, if you look at what happens when people wake up, if you look what happens when change occurs in our lives, inevitably the transformation, the alchemy from one vibration to another tends to be quite jarring. And many of you will resonate with this. That say cast your mind back to, and this doesn't apply to all of us. There is a certain section of people, particularly since the cosmic moment in 2012, who've experienced on a collective basis wake-ups that can only be regarded as a rocket ride or a roller coaster, which means that you change in a very short space of time. You go from asleep to conscious, and I don't mean just kind of like, a little bit conscious, like I mean fully conscious, with the level of understanding the lot of us have worked for over a very long period of time. And I've started seeing more and more of these after the cosmic moment, the 21st of December 2012, which is a very similar date energetically to the one that we've got coming up on the winter solstice this year. And prior to that, wake-ups tended to be a little bit more kind of, I wouldn't ever say that they were kind of mild or kind of enjoyable experiences, but they weren't contained in this kind of like rocket energy that we've been experiencing so much for the last 8 years. So the closer that the further away that we get from the 21st of December 2012, the more kind of instantaneous, the more jarring, the more power or explosive force is kind of packed into these wake-up circumstances. Because let's face it, if I'm 48 years old, if I decided to kind of toddle around on this planet for 47 years old, but my soul agreement was to wake up at the beginning of this year, if I went from unconscious to conscious overnight, and all of a sudden everything that I thought was truth in my reality was stripped away, and I was shown the truth behind the actual structures, I would probably be extremely kind of traumatized, or working through it in a way with the assistance of others, or the assistance of information, or the guidance that is available to me. All of the people that you see out there at the moment that are in the process of waking up, not all of them have the guidance and the assistance at hand to steer them through this. It's there was no other way of doing this. There was no other way of jolting 2 billion people awake in the space of 12 months without it being contained within the circumstances that we're experiencing. I mean, if you look at it energetically, forget about what the government are doing, forget about the kind of the nefarious plans of everything behind it. It's all been cooked and orchestrated in a certain way to move people who were comfortable in their unconsciousness into a state of being able to see, feel and vibrate at a higher frequency. But so many of them are in that transitional phase at the moment, the phase where they've had their third eye, the cover removed. They can see, they can sense, they can feel the truth, the truth that is coming through the the usual illusion that they've been covering up with is it's no longer washing. They're basically in a state of trauma. Okay, now I'm receiving so many messages from people who are either experiencing or struggling themselves, or they know somebody who's struggling. It could be a brother, a sister, a child, a sibling, a work colleague, a friend. It's like, you know, we've got 7.8 billion people on this planet, and over the course of this year, by December the 21st, 2 billion will be awake that weren't awake before. So I can absolutely guarantee you that the people that you're passing in the street, that, you know, the souls that you maybe interact with on a daily basis, like a percentage of them will be coming awake, coming online, and they weren't previously. And if they are blessed enough to have you personally, you know, like you who I'm talking to this morning, if they've got you as a guide, if they've got you as somebody who they can come to for information and assistance on a regular basis, then they are very blessed. But there are so many out there that haven't got that at the moment. They're in rudderless situations where they might have absolutely no spiritual community around them. Even if they did, they wouldn't know how to identify with it, because such is the level of the shift. They don't even know what they should be looking for in the first place. So just contained within all of this are the spiritual laws that we are bound by on this planet to operate within. And you might have heard the old terminology, kind of no save, no rescue, or that you, under spiritual law, you are not permitted to interfere with another's process without their permission. And at the moment, that is as applicable as it was previously, if not even more applicable. But what it's going to do is place many of us who weren't there previously, or simply don't feel that we are ready, into roles as teachers, as guides, as leaders of our community. Things are changing very rapidly, and one of the best things that you can possibly do at the moment, and I say this completely from the heart, because and to everybody who's reaching out to me, everybody who is online and calling for assistance at the moment, if you've asked for help, you will receive it. Okay, there is so much spiritual support around. There are groups forming, very powerful groups, educated groups, professional groups, who are focused and dedicated specifically to assisting people through this collective dark night of the soul, because that is exactly what it is. When you go from unconscious to conscious in a very, very short space of time, the terminology applied to it is the dark night of the soul. Now, those of you who are kind of seasoned with the spiritual pathway, you know that a dark night of the soul can have a slightly repetitive effect. You think you've been through it, and a little bit further down the line, at some point you're going to raise your vibration, go through another initiation, and lo and behold, you're having another dark night. Well, this for many people is the initial one. It's almost, when you look at it energetically, it almost looks like that point at which a cell bursts into life at the moment of conception, and when you just see this huge flash of energy as the alchemy takes place, and consciousness replaces all of the veils, or all of the kind of the subdued energy, basically it's like you take everything away and just leave a soul in kind of its rawest form, with all the bells and the whistles and the nerve endings jangling. And that is happening to so many people out there at the moment. It's there's no magic wand, there's no sugary pill for it. We've just got to be there and be available in whatever format that we are guided to. So if you've got people reaching out to you, you know, now is your time to step up. If you are part of a community, if you can see people that need assistance, offer that assistance. But remember, there is that line in the sand with kind of, you know, it's the the old adage of no save, no rescue. You can't do somebody's ascension process for them. All you can do is be there as a teacher, as leading by example, leading by the heart. And this is where we are at the moment, and as the energy climbs in vibration, you will see this increasing. The way that this is occurring at the moment on our planet, the only way to wake all of these people up in a short space of time was to create a melting pot of circumstances that was so pressurized that it literally it's a little bit like a ping pong bat batting a ball from one side of the table to the other. We're moving in a very, very short space of time, and it's to the trained or the untrained eye, it's causing huge ripples within our society. But then it was going to, because we've got to lose the parts of our society that don't work, that don't serve us, and build on top of what we have with a much higher frequency. So you've heard me probably say it before, we are going to basically see at some point in the near future the removal of the kind of like the lower frequency aspects of our society, the aspects that aren't serving us in any way, shape or form, such as the corruption and within the politics, the education that's not actually educating the children. It's simply it's more just programming them, and medicine that doesn't heal. It simply just it creates profit. All of these things are in a process of flux. They're in a process of transformation. But the brilliant part about it is, instead of actually everything kind of collapsing back to the Stone Age, what happens is we just simply replace what needs to be replaced with the education and the knowledge and the technology and the spiritual fortitude that we've already got in place, and we just simply build from that point upwards. So it's a very, very positive forward movement. But where we are at the moment, you are going to probably inevitably be surrounded by people that are in need of help. They will be reaching out. They might well have lost their jobs. They might well have lost their sources of income. There will be a situations where people that have it's almost like that, the joys of like, I've just woken up and my entire family and all of my old social circle and friends have started to reject me because the information that I'm starting to resonate with is threatening to them, and the list goes on. But also others amongst our own spiritual community who have been pushed to the very limits of our tolerance by this rise in frequency. So teachers, get your teaching boots on and be ready to guide, to lead, to step up in whatever way that you are called to do. Okay, as within, so without. As you lead, others will be they will gravitate towards you. By far you can speak and talk and convey information. Like you see it constantly going on online. These like online tennis matches or wars between people trying desperately to convey their information. Like, I'll wake up before it's too late, or understand this is my point of view, you must take it on, kind of thing. And whereas that has an effect, it plants a seed. What we need at the moment is people who are standing up in their power, in their vibration, and stepping into their true roles. Okay, so the dark night of the collective dark night of the soul is what I am seeing, and this comes from a collection of the general kind of the vibrations, the messages that I'm receiving from people, the kind of the vibration of a lot of the comments, or the content of a lot of the comments that are on my page, on other people's pages. There is a reaching out. There is a mass reaching out at the moment. People have basically been pushed as hard as they possibly can, and we are the energy net. We need to, if we haven't done so already, we need to start creating this very powerful net of energy to catch the fallout. You see where I'm coming from with this? It's like, you know, on one side of the coin, it's no save, no rescue. You can't get involved with other people's processes. But on the other side, we are responsible energetically and on a community we level to be there for the others around us and start pulling together when the time arises, when we are called to do so. So it's as we move towards the end of this very transformational month and then enter into December, heading towards the winter solstice or the summer solstice if you're in the southern hemisphere, expect the vibrations to start to continue to rise. You know, they're doing it on a daily basis at the moment, but the light will push, okay, and when it pushes that hard, the people who are resisting it, they eventually have to yield to the frequency, to the vibration, to the effect that it is designed to have. So yeah, I feel like I'm kind of dishing out some kind of pep talk this morning, but it's not. It's simply what we can and will expect from you know, from our surroundings at the moment. Changes upon us, and so be there. You know, if you can see somebody struggling, reach out, offer your assistance. I know that, you know, many of us stepped onto this spiritual pathway because our drive is to change the world, to help others, you know, because we feel every single little thing that occurs around us on this planet directly within our heart center, within our chakras, and it is our natural instinctive response to step up and assist. So that is what we are going to be doing. Okay, but just remember where you stand on the spiritual laws with that, and sort of no save, no rescue, but be there, ready to step up, ready to assist, ready to teach, ready to reform these higher communities of assistance for. I know many of us are already doing this. We've already formed like this golden web or network of very high frequency support around the planet, and we are there, and we are being there, but expect an increase in this as the frequencies rise. More people will kind of, it's almost like, you know, like dropping the egg. All of a sudden they're within the dark night, and the transition from ego to heart in a very short space of time is what is occurring. So you're seeing this very jarring, this effect, you know, and this is the point where these people switch off the news. They start listening to the spiritual information. They start taking their own steps forwards and utilizing the advice that they are being given. And so that's pretty much where I am with it. And it's also interesting to know, as another thing before I go about my daily business and you go about yours, you've heard me talking about the players behind the scenes. Okay, this is a totally different subject altogether. This is more the kind of the structural goings on. You see, like, a lot of people are kind of throwing their attention at the front men, the puppets that we can see kind of orchestrating what's going on in the 3D reality. Very interesting to know, and you'll hear me speaking more about this in the future weeks. The souls behind the scenes, the ones that were there at the fall of Atlantis, have begun to reveal themselves. It's by spiritual law, when the light rises, everybody steps out the shadows, and so things are going to get very, very interesting. It's action stations. It's fun time. Now, sending you all loads of love. Hope you've had a good week, a high frequency week, and hope you have a beautiful weekend when it arrives tomorrow. Sending you all lots of love, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.